Makadiyos, makatao, makakalikasan at makabansa. In God we trust. As Filipino Americans, four brothers stand at the intersections of these creeds. It seems that a natural place to begin introducing the men in my family is with my dad. Neither snow nor rain, nor heat nor gloom of night stays these couriers from the swift completion of their appointed rounds. My father's uniform is always impeccable. He irons his striped light blue shirts with care, with the rest of his uniform items on its own rack in our basement. 6 days out of the week, he walks 7 miles daily, roughly the span of walking from Union Square to the Museum of Natural History twice every day. We typically have to find him new shoes 2 to 3 times a year. In his free time, my father actively dreams. He has a sketchbook, like I do, where he designs the retirement home he will build for himself and my cousins in the Philippines. He designs his room and my mom's room on the lower level, taking into consideration the difficulty of stairs when he gets older. The room he designs for me always has the best view, and he dreams of having a grand piano by my window, dreaming me playing Ravel with the rest of the town, listening to the music from his home. He always dreams of going back to the Philippines once he's done working, dreaming of his home, the temperature, and the cheap $10 massages he could get every day to remove the 10 years of stress brought upon by pushing a mail cart 7 miles a day, 6 days a week. I am an American soldier. I am a warrior and a member of a team. I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values. I only really got to know my Tito Raymond when I was starting the 9th grade. Before then, he had been stationed in Germany until I was 12, and upon returning to the States, was placed 21 hours away in Missouri. Still, we'd make the drive to visit them twice a year. But when I began the 9th grade, my uncle and his family moved close by to Maryland. I spent at least a month every summer staying with them. Even so, I still rarely saw my uncle because he was either on a tour in the Middle East or holed up in his office at Fort Aberdeen. He never said it was too bad for him, smiling as he told us about a large camel he saw there or the lobster he had on a Christmas. Still, the times we did get to see him, he prioritized his family time over an extra hour or two of sleep. He made sure to have dinner with us all together, and after dinner was spent telling us stories of him and my dad after they arrived from the Philippines. I didn't bring clothes on the plane. I only had $20, he said. In the airport, your dad and I saw someone accepting donations and giving pens out as a thank you. And we both needed pens. Upon being picked up from the airport, my uncle asked my grandfather when he would be enrolling him and my dad in college. My grandpa laughed and said, "College? I'm not paying for you. If you want to attend school, join the army." Remember the name of thy Lord at morning and evening. I didn't really know my Uncle David growing up. He and my dad are half-brothers, unlike my dad and Tito Raymond, who grew up in the provincial streets among their 8 second cousins in the Philippines. Uncle David and the youngest, Eric, however, are both half Filipino and grew up in the upper-class suburbs of Virginia. When I was a kid, Uncle David was off with his high school social commitments, and then off doing the same thing at Virginia Tech. I remember how vividly his brightly dyed red hair was. He loved doing frat boy things like partying, keg stands, and painting his face for sporting events. He visited us one year wanting to visit Manhattan. He had his brightly dyed hair, and my dad laughed, saying that it matched the Christmas tree at Rockefeller Center. He went on paid leave for a year by his company, during which the dye wore off as he visited family he'd never met before in the Philippines, and backpacked in the Middle East. He learned from the Quran and brought it back with him. He quotes its teachings and lives them, opting for his natural brown hair and simpler clothing. I remember my dad saying when we first met him after his trip, that now he's Muslim and not to let him convert me. Uncle David came back a warmer man than I ever knew him to be. He arrived with a new aversion to alcohol, pork, and picture taking, the last two of which are like breathing to Filipinos, and now he prefers mild conversation filled with tiny smiles and long drives and hikes along the Potomac. When he learned that I'd never visited the Potomac before, he laughed and said we need to visit. We took a long drive out, which was filled with content silence. The land is very calm. All is peaceful. My Uncle Eric belongs to the 0.5% of America now, having traded in his snowmen, autumn leaves, and football for hanging loose and letting fate show him the way. Every morning he meditates and does yoga at sunrise, surfing right after, and once again riding the waves after work. Most days, he works as a masseuse and practices other alternative medical treatments. On the weekends, the beach is his storefront, selling his art and airbrushed hats, immortalizing the Pacific waves to the island's visitors. My grandmother often visits him in Hawaii, staying at his beachfront apartment, fawning over its year-long view. Eric made her home in Virginia picture the beachfront too. Not along any real coast, but through the chocolate-covered macadamia nuts always on the table, his old retired surfboard hanging over in the kitchen, and his paintings on the walls by the entrance, with their warm ceruleans and turquoises with dauntless tan surfers, heralding in Hawaii. He brings back Hawaii and Hawaiian dreams to all of us as well, with souvenirs like keychains with surfboards and Hawaiian sayings on them, leis made of fake flowers for the girls, his unstressed demeanor and easy laughter, and promises to teach us how to surf, should we all end up at the beach together in Hawaii or in the Philippines.